Today we've got liquid nitrogen, molten aluminum, and a whole bunch of pumpkins. It's time to do Halloween, backyard scientist style. So the first thing we're going to do today is pour a bunch of liquid nitrogen into a pumpkin and see what happens. After that, we're going to pour molten aluminum into a pumpkin, and then we're going to combine the two by freezing a pumpkin to 300 degrees negative Fahrenheit, and then pouring molten aluminum into it. This should be cool. Before we destroy this pumpkin, there's something I want to try. I've got a cup full of liquid nitrogen. Now the only reason liquid nitrogen's still liquid is because it's so cold, so the second it touches the relatively hot pumpkin, it flashes back into a gas and creates a pretty impressive cloud of condensed water vapor as it does that. Alright, now it's time to pour molten aluminum in the pumpkin. I just have to be really careful bringing the molten aluminum over there. Well, I'm glad that didn't land on me. Anyway, second try is a charm, so here we go. Now with a big pumpkin like this, they're mostly hollow, so there's nothing for the aluminum to really interact with as it falls through the pumpkin. So if we want to create a cast of the inside of a pumpkin, I'm going to need a more medium-sized pumpkin with seeds and smaller empty pockets for the aluminum to travel through. We poured liquid nitrogen in a pumpkin and we poured molten aluminum in a pumpkin. Now it's time to combine the two. I'm filling this pumpkin with liquid nitrogen, and my theory is that pumpkins are really fragile on the inside, so when you pour something really hot in, it'll just turn the insides to mush. But with the liquid nitrogen having the pumpkin at negative 300 degrees Fahrenheit, it should be a lot harder, and the aluminum should be able to get everywhere in that pumpkin. The pouring went a lot smoother this time. Thankfully, I managed to not set my yard on fire, and the pumpkin didn't explode from some kind of crazy thermal shock. Alright. Alright, time to crack these open and see what we got. This is the one without the liquid nitrogen in it. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Ooh, that's pretty cool, huh? Ugh. Ooh, man, that stinks. Got a lot of good detail on that one for sure. Liquid nitrogen one. Let's see if this is any different. Now for the moment of truth. Ooh, ow, hot. So this was the one with liquid nitrogen, and this was the one where I just poured in the pumpkin regularly. I'm gonna clean these up and then let's check them out. Now I cast two pumpkins that were cooled with liquid nitrogen, and they both filled the inside of the pumpkin perfectly. They're pretty detailed. You can see all the little indents where the seeds were left behind, and they're pretty cool to play with. They have a really interesting shape. Now, compared to the ones that were not cooled with liquid nitrogen, those ones are bigger and thicker and a little bit heavier, because I think when the hot aluminum went in there, it destroyed a lot of the plant matter as it went in. And that big one is from the huge pumpkin. I'll say that the liquid nitrogen pumpkin definitely gave a cooler looking piece than just pouring it into a regular pumpkin. I'd call this a success. One more thing. Now it's time for the thermite. This is about 1.5 pounds, so this is gonna be interesting. Well guys, that's it for this week's video. Have a good Halloween. See you next time.